Okay. Okay. When you activate your My Invoice portal, definitely they will automatically send you this notification. Okay. Notifications will send it to you if you activated your My Invoice portal. If today your company still maybe have to start 1st January or 1st July, you didn't activate the My Invoice portal for your company, definitely you won't receive this. Means that your supplier implemented since 1st August, example, every transaction they will generate e-invoice already. But the problem is this, your company, let's say customer, supplier is e-invoice already 1st August, but as a customer, as a buyer, you didn't activate your My Invoice portal, you will not receive this notifications to say that I received the my e-invoice transaction from your supplier. You can't receive this because you didn't activate your My Invoice portal. Until you activate your company My Invoice portal and then provide the email address, that email address, based on that email address, once your supplier send e-invoice to the company, that email address will receive this notification. Okay. Example, you give the supplier Jessica@biztrak.com. Okay. But in the My Invoice portal, I enter as accounts@biztrak.com, example. Okay. So I won't receive because even though you provide your supplier Jessica@biztrak.com, they integrate the data to this IRB with your email address. But the thing is, the IRB will only send the notification based on the My Invoice portal activated by our company and then refer to that email under the user profile there. So the user profile, under the user profile is accounts@biztrak.com, then they will send to accounts@biztrak.com only. They will not send to Jessica@biztrak.com, just to tell you. Buyer do not require an e-invoice, seller is required to submit console. So this is just like explained just now lah. If let's say they do not require, what we can do is B2C one, we can console 7 days, not their daily basis, 7 days for the subsequent after the month end. Okay, so when landlord conduct a business, if we renting a building, office block, office, then the landlord have to actually, if under management company, the landlord have to issue e-invoice to us. Okay, this one already explained here. So this landlord is under this property real estate company called Omega Properties. So the Omega Properties have to generate the e-invoice. All the while, let's say we signing this tenancy agreement, we just based on tenancy agreement to make payment to this supplier, right? The landlord every month. But now, e-invoice era, you have to request this landlord under the company one, they have to provide us the e-invoice. If the landlord is the individual, they didn't provide us e-invoice, we have to self-bill. Seller with multiple branches can choose how they would like to actually do the console their e-invoice. So if means that I have a few branches, I can actually individual branch, I have to separate up the transaction to have a separate this console e-invoice. You cannot say you want to submit a lump sum like that, cannot. E-invoice treatment during interim. So they have a one relaxation period. We call it interim relaxation period here. You see the updated FAQ here got mentioned. If you really above 25 million, and then you really not ready, you cannot ready by your 1st January. What you can have option is you can submit consolidated e-invoice to IRB, meaning that you do not require to submit individual transaction every day lah, no need. If you are not ready lah, if you are ready, then suggest you to do daily basis lah. So this one is taxpayer with turnover. You see they have until 31st January. So those like really start 1st August one, they only have these interim periods up to the relaxation period up to 31st. That means 1st August, all the invoice have to submit individual already, B2B one. So for taxpayer with annual turnover, let's say you're above 25 million, so you have to comply by 1st January, right? So now you have an option. If you are not ready, you still have 6 months to submit console until June. Okay, but 1st July, you have to submit individual invoice as an e-invoice already. You cannot do console. For all taxpayer, they really not ready by 1st July. They have an option to submit total 7 days after the following month. They have to submit until they have this relaxation period until 31st December. Meaning that I can submit lump sum by August, September until January for the December. For January one, of course, December total lah. So I can do this. But subsequent January 2026, I have no choice already. Have to really comply by submitting e-invoice by transaction really for B2B or B2G. Okay, so this one consider good news. Good news to those really cannot ready. Okay, by 1st January, especially for those above 25 million. Okay, so please note that who not yet ready. If you ready, then you can submit individual area. If you are not ready, then only you submit lump sum. Okay or not? So this one is for those like really not really ready for that. But anyhow, because you are 1st January, you cannot say I don't want to submit console. If you cannot submit by individual, then another alternative is must submit consolidated e-invoice, meaning that you total up the net revenue for that particular January. Okay, you sum up that January net sales, must tally again your P&L, then you submit. So this one is also when I actually attending this seminar for the seminar percukaian kebangsaan. So they are telling us, the LHDN saying that for 1st August taxpayer, they have a problem to actually submitting e-invoice. The reason, one of the key reason is because their customer didn't provide them the TIN number. So when every time they submit, we also have a lot of support issue based on TIN number. So they sometimes giving you the wrong TIN number. Sometimes they don't want to give you, they didn't respond to you on the TIN number. So because you search from internet, you can only search their company registration number. You cannot get their TIN number. So when you cannot get their TIN number, your submissions will be error. It will come out invalid. So invalid, that means your submissions will be failed. So this is the problem of the 1st August taxpayer. So now they were actually giving us, that means they will have a portal, I think under My Invoice portal, they are saying that January, you see, bagi membantu pembayar cukai, the taxpayer akan menyediakan platform. When they say menyediakan platform, they didn't mention what platform, but I guess it's under the My Invoice site or how. So that platform allow us to actually enter the BRN number, then only provide us the TIN number. At this stage, they only allow us to you supply the BRN number, you supply the TIN number, then you click validate in Biztrak, you click validate, system will send your request to the LHDN, then LHDN will tell you this TIN number is valid or not valid. Until this stage, you can do that only, but it won't tell you if invalid, what's supposed to be a correct TIN number they didn't provide this info at this moment. This API can only allow us to validate whether the TIN number given by our customer to us when we enter their BRN, we enter this TIN number, whether it's valid or not valid. Not valid, they also didn't tell us what is the correct number. They didn't. So you have to wait until this platform ready. then only you try to actually searching for the TIN number. So next time, we do not require customer given, or we want to confirm the customer given TIN number accurate or not accurate, we can actually search from here. So this platform. Okay, type of these invoices. So for my invoice, this e-invoice, because all this related, the 4 part, 1 to 4 related to the revenue to recognize as the income. So invoice, debit note, credit note, that means minus out our income. Credit note and refund note is almost the same. What's the difference between credit note and refund note? Credit notes is normally for B2B. B2B means that B2B normally when we issue this invoice, and then they make payment already, but goods return back to us, then they ask us to maybe issue a credit note to them. When we issue credit note, then we have options to offset the future invoice, right? So we can leave it credit note. So that one is called B2B. For B2C, normally they don't do that. They actually they buy a product from you, and then maybe after 3 days they come back to you saying that now the product, the spare part maybe cannot fix to my this machine. So I return, then you don't have any alternative spare part to replace. What you have to do is you can make a refund. So this refund note normally is B2C. This is the guideline from some of the accountants saying that. So we just like giving you some message that if you are B2B1, normally you issue credit note, right? So it's already deduct your revenue, your income. So refund note is like those like mostly used in the B2C. Okay, for 5 to 8 is expenses. This expenses is for sell bill. When we receive, let's say, overseas goods or services invoice from your suppliers from overseas, okay, they do not provide us the e-invoice because they are not in this Malaysia e-invoice implementation. What we have to do is we will provide them we recognize their invoice under our AP module already. What we have to do is we have to generate a sell bill, especially for overseas. But they have 8 categories allow us to do this sell bill e-invoice. Just now exempted one is excluded. You cannot use that as a sell bill. You can just recognize really the in the expenses, proof of expenses. So how to actually know the 8 category? This later on I explain what are the 8 categories. Statement of bill and on the periodic. This one is the example of this sample of this illustration, meaning that telco company, they no matter how they have to issue the e-invoice to the individual, to B2B or B2C. Okay, so meaning that when you enter into our Biztrak system, you can, let's say I generate the recurring transactions to my customer. What I can do is I can have options to enter the periodic, maybe monthly basis or annually, and then I have to put in the date from and date to prove this. And then this one is like for periodic. So this one, I don't know why they request this information. E-invoice issue for bill and periodic may also include the adjustment. So like sometimes they give us rebate. We have to issue under the e-invoice also. Disbursement and reimbursement, we have to understand what is reimbursement or the disbursements. So for those like out-of-pocket expense incurred by providing goods, this one reimbursement meaning that you can see this illustration. So let's say example, we engage the third party to help us to let's say this event organizer, the third party, they help us to organize the event, and then they also help us arrange all the hotel. But the hotel, when they generate the bill, they generate it to us, e-invoice. So this event, we pay everything lump sum figure to this event organizer. So the event, this organizer, the company, when they generate e-invoice, they also have to generate back the saying that we already make payment. So they have to separate out the bill, call issue an e-invoice planning service. Their service plus the ballroom rental, they still issue. So it's like double taken our these so-called the expenses, right? Actually, not really. So classifications, when you choose, I enter here is 027, meaning that when you check this classification under number 5. Classification here, you check search for 027. This reimbursement, you have to, the event organizer, they will generate two line. They have to generate two line. One line is actually their revenue, okay? And second line, because they, on behalf, they help you to make payment, then they have to issue out the e-invoice to say that this is the reimbursements, right? So what you can do is you have to, they have to enter classification code for that transaction is the 027. So at least it's not recognized as an event company. I won't recognize this transaction, the hotel ballroom rental, as my own revenue. That's why I have to choose this 027 as the reimbursement purposes. So ultimately, the LHTN, their cloud server, will recognize this transaction. The first part, planning services, is the revenue of this event company only. The second part, the second line, classification code, because choosing 027, then this is not recognized. Example, let's say I'm the NGO. NGO company, they also getting the donation from their client, right? So those that donor, they provide us the donation. So the donation portion will consider recognized as 007 as donation because it's not part of the NGO revenue. So this is part under donation. So they can choose 007. This is one of the example. Then no e-invoice required to payment on behalf. If I have a few companies, then in between the company, let's say example here, the company receive from supplier, the supplier actually provide DEF, this so-called the e-invoice, but ABC help us to make payment. Our holding company or our subsidiary helping us to make payment to our supplier. Let's say we are DEF company, and then we receive e-invoice from our supplier, but we not have insufficient fund. So what we can do is we will get ABC, our holding company, pay on behalf of us. So when this ABC pay on behalf, meaning that ABC month end, they will issue a debit note to DEF, right? So when they generate debit note to DEF, it's just a normal transaction. It's not considered as an e-invoice because DEF is already received e-invoice, already recognized the expenses. So at the end, this ABC help to payment on behalf. So this ABC, when they make payment on behalf, we make payment back to them. Oh, sorry, before we make payment back to them, they will generate debit note to us. Whenever they generate this invoice or debit note to us for this payment on behalf, this will be a normal invoice, not e-invoice. Okay. So expenses incurred by the employee on behalf of the employer, meaning that any employer they claim for accommodations, store mileage, and parking, and so on, they are required to submit their expenses with a supporting document, bill, and receipt, right? Upon this e-invoice implementation, they must supply us the e-invoice as a proof of the expenses. But this e-invoice can issue under their name or company name. So meaning that, let's say our employee has been assigned Go Outstation, and then a hotel bill received from the hotel, you can actually get the hotel, generate e-invoice under the employee name or employer name, also no problem. Okay, this is some of the illustration. So just now we say sell bill is to proof of expenses, right? To recognize as our expenses. Who are the party that must generate the sell bill? Only 8 categories here. The first one is payment to agents, dealer, and distribution. Meaning that, let's say sometimes referral fees, recommendations from one of the individual. So this individual, they recommend business to us. We will provide them after we close sales, after we do a collection, then we will issue maybe few thousand to this so-called introducer. That means middleman, or we call it referral person. So this referrer, because they are individual, okay, maybe they are individual, they are not company. If they are under the company, normally you have to request getting them to issue in e-invoice to us directly, then we make payment to them. But if they are not under company, they are the individual. Once they are under individual, normally before e-invoice era, we just get the IC number from them, right? Full name and then IC. Then when the auditor asks them, we present to them or the taxpayer. So tax agent. So now you cannot do that. In e-invoice era is you have to generate e-sell bill e-invoice. That means you have to recognize these expenses under the AP vendor invoice. So you have to enter under the this vendor invoice, and then you submit as a sell bill e-invoice for this payment. So not only that, when you import from the foreign seller goods or services, okay, you have to recognize, submit this sell bill e-invoice. Then profit distribution, e-commerce, and so on. So you can see all these information, the 8 category. So out of this 8 category, you cannot issue sell bill already. Sell bill is only limit to this 8 category only. So for sell bill one, not conducting, this is one of the sample. You have to do sell bill one, and then need to issue a sell bill e-invoice when purchase services. So this is you have to provide this, generate this sell bill. They are not conducting in e-invoice the business. Landlord does not conduct businesses. So meaning that for landlord, you have to get the sell bill. So if the landlord, when you sign this one with 3 party, you have to generate 3 sell bill e-invoice. Okay, this is one of the sample. Not required to issue sell bill e-invoice if the interest payment. Okay, so when we make payment, like hire purchase or getting a bank loan from the bank, because they are the licensed institution. Okay, they are licensed institution. So they're charging us the interest. So when every month we do an installment payment, we pay not only our principal amount, we also pay the interest, right? So that one, because they are licensed financial institution, we do not require to issue any sell bill. We will wait for this licensed institution, financial institution, to generate the e-invoice to us. Okay, a bit like a GST. So they have to generate e-invoice for us to recognize our expenses, this interest. So if they are not licensed, then we have to sell bill already. Meaning that, let's say, a holding company and the subsidiary. So subsidiary getting loan from the holding, and then holding charge us interest. So every month when we make payment, we have to sell bill because this holding company, they are not the financial institution. This one explain the commission one. Cross-border, that means the seller from overseas. This overseas one, we have to generate a sell bill also. So the sell bill, how we generate a sell bill? Okay, this one also create a lot of issue when first August client, especially they purchase these goods from the overseas, then they have to wait until the custom declaration. So it could be the next month, I only get all the custom form, ready. So when the custom form ready, you have to enter in, you have to enter in all the customs field, with all the information required by LHTN. You have to enter, then only you can submit your sell bill. So by the time you receive your goods is, let's say, this month, by the time the declaration all completed, it's already next month. So they have to generate enter in all the information or else also cannot pass through. So they have to enter all this information. They enter already, then only they can, you see, this is the month end of custom declarations. Meaning that they enter complete, then only they can submit the e-invoice, self-bill e-invoice. So currently, have a 72 hours threshold window, meaning that once you enter in system, then within 72 hours, you have to submit e-invoice, self-bill e-invoice, right? So for this scenario, they cannot because they have to wait until month of the custom declaration. That means complete everything, then only they can submit. By the time they already recognize that transaction in last month, So what they can do is they can now wait until these custom declarations completed, obtain all the information, enter into the system, then only subsequent month they complete everything, they submit. Then they can choose e-invoice date is the current date. So we have 2 dates here. One is the transaction date, your GL date. Okay. The other date is the e-invoice date. For normal invoice, the AR sales invoice, if you key in today, you can submit today, then your transaction date and your e-invoice date is the same date. But if let's say within 72 hours, let's say 5th of December, you issue invoice, then you cannot submit by 5th of December, maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, within 72 hours. Let's say 5th of December, 10:30, you generate e-invoice, generate transaction invoice, and then you have the time to submit 72 hours, means that 6th December, okay, 7th December. So until I think 7th December, 24 hours already, then 6, 7, 8 December before 10:30, that means 10:29, you have to submit e-invoice. But if the current system is after 72 hours, after 10:30, 9 December, because it's 6, 7, sorry, today is 5th, right? 6, 7, 8 of December, if you cannot submit before 10:30, you submit after 10:30. You submit after 10:30, then better your e-invoice date, you choose 8 of December. You don't use our transaction date, our invoice date, because we allow you to have 2 different dates. One is your GL transaction invoice date. The other one is your e-invoice submission. To close these 72 hours. Why we do that? Because some customer like, especially like palm oil, they have to get the commodity price. So when they get a commodity price, they wait until month end. They get the average commodity price, then only they will start billing their customer. They have to follow that ruling. So meaning that it's already, when they generate invoice, they generate, let's say right now it's 5th of December, but I now generate invoice to my customer I backdated to 30th November, because I will get all the invoices, the delivery, then get the commodity price to actually bill my customer. So when they have this scenario, they have already backdated. So it's already exceed the 72 hours windows already. So when they exceed 72 hours window, we have giving them another option, choosing 5th of December as their invoice date, instead of choosing their invoice date 30th November, because they backdated. But for imported goods, this scenario is the other way around. You have to wait until next month. You issue invoice is same scenario, a big same scenario, but that one is backdated. What they do is you key in now, but your custom declaration you enter after you obtain all the information, you enter next month, right? So wait until you enter complete everything, then only you do submissions for your self-bill e-invoice. During system training, IFA will emphasize on that 2 dates, IFA. So e-commerce transactions, if you have e-commerce that just now explained also, the e-commerce platform, they have to responsible for this e-invoice and the sell bill e-invoice. E-commerce platform, this is e-commerce one. Obligations, you can actually do this, okay, you can issue the sell bill e-invoice under the My Invoice portal also. So meaning that just now the relaxation interim period, the relaxations period for 6 months, when you do console e-invoice, you can do console for to recognize your revenue and to recognize your sell bill transaction also. Not only for your revenue, that means also for your expenses. So for this 6 months, the interim period, you can do that for the lump sum submission. Okay. This one is the obligations for the sell bill. So let's say, just now saying that we're giving a commissions to our agent, right? We're giving commissions to our agent. We issue sell bill. So when we issue sell bill to that agent, we have to share validated sell bill e-invoice to that supplier upon validated. Meaning that after we send, we have to tell them, Mr. A, I'm giving you this the commission for this project. Now I already recognize this under the sell bill e-invoice and then get this already validated, meaning that I have to present this e-invoice, sell bill e-invoice to that Mr. A to say that you have to recognize this revenue when you pay your personal tax. So this one they have to know also because you obligated for this sharing. But for foreign supplier, no need lah. You no need to present this sell bill e-invoice to them because they are foreigner. No need. But local supplier, when you issue a sell bill for that 8 category, right? One of the category no need, but the rest, let's say for local one, you have to provide. So we have these options. Either you use our Biztrak online for this e-invoice submission, or you can directly log into the My Invoice portal to generate. Okay, sorry, this slide here. Okay, for this My Invoice portal means that you can just log into their system and then generate, and then this API one you can use by Biztrak online to directly generate. So for your info, the subscription fees for next year, if you still not hit the next cycle when we increase the price, then you're still enjoying the old price. But for your info, once we release the new price by this January, meaning that new price, then you still, the new subscriptions, we will inform you on the new price because the e-invoice module is not an optional module, will be bundled in our system. Only thing is the subscription fees will be higher a little bit. We will increase some of the price here. So we are saying like if you are using for Biztrak online one, so we suggest you to use Biztrak online to generate the e-invoice. And you do not require to obtain own digital cert because it's under our own platform. This one, option 1 is only for Biztrak MSP taxpayer. They can subscribe to their own digital cert. Okay, if they already have a digital cert, let's say holding already obtained their own digital cert, they can share these digital certs to the rest of the subsidiary. Then the subsidiary have to add on the intermediary under this My Invoice portal. So that one also under MSP only. So for Biztrak MSP, for Biztrak online, you do not need to obtain any digital cert. So this digital cert is like automatically using our Biztrak company's digital cert. So for integration, so this one, when we do integration, we have to obtain digital cert one. So this digital cert is only applicable to purchase is when you are using MSP because you holding your own database. Every company have own on-premise database. So on-premise database, then you have to obtain own digital cert. But for Biztrak Online, because everything in one cloud server, so in everything in all clients subscribers databases are hosted under one platform. So meaning that we do not require you to have your own digital cert. So let's go through these steps. Step 1 to step 9 is creations of the e-invoice, but I would like to emphasize more on the step 0 here, activations of my invoice portal, how you activate. Because when you subscribe to Biztrak Online, you can use Biztrak Online to do submission. Before you can do submissions, you have to activate your my invoice portal first. Okay, and you can concurrently activate two. You can activate two environments. One is called testing environment, the My Invoice testing environment. The other one is production environment, actual environment. So you can click on this pre-productions My Tax Hasil. Okay, you just click, then it will link you to that particular page. When I click, so this is pre-production. Pre-production means that sandbox. So another page is My Tax. So this is actual. The difference between these two links is actually pre-product and My Tax. So you can concurrently doing these two My Tax, My Invoice activation for your company. Okay, the first thing you have to do is you have to follow. I suggest you to follow our step. Even though we already uploaded this training material under this supporting document here under the IRB here, you can see there's a My Invoice Sandbox, this user guideline, and then the other one is the My Invoice Production Guideline. You can actually refer to this guideline also, but suggest you to go through our slide here. Okay, the first thing is you will require your director. Okay, in order for you to activate your company My Invoice, make sure your director have to log in to own personal My Tax first. You get them to log in to the My Tax. Okay, select My Invoice, the top there. After log into My Tax, you will see the top here got one My Invoice. So when you click this My Invoice, okay, then you can start adding this role and responsibility. Okay, but activating the company My Tax, they have to log in. Director have to log in first. Okay, director have to log in and then activate own My Invoice, and then at the same time log into the company, activate the company My Invoice also. So if after activate this My Invoice, then the director have to click this role selections here. You choose the director of the company. When you choose director of the company, then you can see your company name. Under director of the company, you can see the director name. If you cannot see the director name, let's say you can't see the director name, your director cannot see the company name, meaning that this director is not the latest, they still not holding the company under the company My Tax under this director, meaning that the previous director is not resigned. Of course, they resign already, but come to the My Tax, they still consider active director, in the My Tax. So what the director have to do is that previous director have to do a termination first. The previous director have to do a termination for that company. Then only new director have to be appointed. The new director, they have to go into the my tax. Later I explain. Let's say you can see, then no problem. You can see your company name. This director can see when you click this just now. When this director, they click this button, drop down button, they can see director of the company. They click this, then they can see this company. They just click on this company first. After click this company, then they have to appoint. They click this appointment of representative. They add the employee as a company representative to access to the company's My Invoice portal. So means that you have to enter your accountant IC number. So you submit. You click submit, meaning that you want to appoint your company accountant to access to My Invoice portal. So this function can only activate if the accountant log into the My Tax and then go to the My Invoice portal, do this step. Okay, you have to, first thing, director have to assign the representative. After assign the representative ready, as the accountant A as a representative, you can have a multiple representative, meaning that this number 5, number 5 here can be more than one person, more than one representative, can be multiple. So if let's say you want three finance team, 3 persons to access to the My Invoice portal, meaning that you must add 3 times this appointment of representative, 3 IC number. And that person must have a My Tax access. They must log into the My Tax first. That 3 person log into the own personal My Tax and then can see My Invoice here. Then they have to activate own My Invoice account before the step 7. So they activate own My Invoice first. After they activate already, then they follow this step 7 is they log into the My Invoice. They click the top here, switch taxpayer. They can see the company. Let's say they has been assigned for ABC and XYZ. Then they can see ABC and XYZ and representative name is their own personal name. Then they click ABC and number heart here 1 time. When you click this one, you have to do this process number 7 is because you want to register your name, username, your username under the company My Invoice there. All right. So you have to follow this step. So step 7 must be completed by the representative. Otherwise, the representative name will not appear in step 10. Step 10 is the step here. Or else, when the director log into the company My Invoice portal, they cannot see this name, They cannot see your name. So meaning that step 7 important. After step 7, then step 8 is, because you already, first time you try to log in, switch company to, when you click switch company, you choose ABC, click 1 time, it's automatically that your username has been created in the ABC and number had My Invoice there. Or else, your company, just now when you create under My Tax, your representative, you still not consider creating the representative username in the My Invoice portal, not yet. Only like this assignment is to allow number 7 can see. That means this accountant can see the company name showing here only. So still not register this accountant name in the My Invoice portal. So until accountant log into these steps, step 7, choose ABC channel 1 time, then exit out, get the director log in again to the My Invoice. Then only can see the name out already. Then only you can click this triple dot here, edit permission. Then only add you to see everything. Because the first time you log in, you can't see anything. Just like a page, My Invoice, you cannot do anything. So because it's just like that step is for you to actually created your name created in the company My Invoice. Then director have to log in again 1 more time to edit the permission to give the full access to you. You just like change the bar from the pull the bar this the activate this bar to from inactive to active. That means from gray to blue color lah. Then you click save. So this one has been activated already. Then when you log in, then only you can do the rest of the function. Example, if I get the full access, I can add ERP, I can add intermediary. For Biztrak online user, because option 3 is for you to choose. You can only choose option 3. Just now the option, you do not need to obtain the own digital cert, but you have to add our company as your intermediary. So how to add? Later I will show you the screen. You follow this step. After number 11 step, number 10 completed, you can either ask director or you yourself, because already get all permission. So you can do step number 11 and number 12. So you have to add this intermediary as Biztrak here for 2 portal, because just now got 2 portal, right? This portal and this portal. This is a sandbox portal, and then this is the live portal, the production one. So for production, TIN number, you search for our TIN number here, and then BRN name, you have to type in, copy paste. So here, in between D here, after D here, before this bracket, there's 3 space, make sure 3 space after BHD here, 3 space. Because previously, last month, I don't know why this My Invoice portal has been changed. When we type is only 1 space, then we can add the intermediary, but customer come back to us saying that they cannot find Biztrak name. So after we send email to the My Invoice support, then only they recognize, they tell us we have to have this 3 space here. Okay. And then for the pre-production sandbox also, they also change. We also don't know why. We cannot add already. Then after that, we also send email to them together with this. Then they ask us to use this value. B cross and then this value. So I also don't know why, changing like that. So if let's say you want to add this intermediary, you have to use this copy paste. This some of the video here. Let me show you the My Invoice portal here. Log into this one actual one. Because I'm the one of the representatives of the company, has been added as one of the company. So I click my personal one. I log into the My Invoice. So first time as an individual accountant, so I have to activate my own personal My Invoice first. You have to do that. Like just now the step saying. So after I activate already, this activated already, what I can do is, here I can see B here. I click on the B here, my name here. I can switch taxpayer for first time. So you have to, when you can see the company name, means that your director has already added you as the representative. So when I click this, I click switch. So this is the first time I log into the company My Invoice. So first time, then you can exit already. Let's say you cannot do anything. You don't have access. But now I have full permission here. So what I can do is, I can come to the view taxpayer here. Follow step 11 and 12. You see this one, you can download one. You can click add intermediary here. So you copy just now the value. You copy this value. The which page? So what you can do is, you copy this one. Then you try to add. Of course, it shows it's added already because I added already. So it's like you copy like that. Then you enter this captcha's number. Of course, now I cannot add one more time now, unless I delete. So you have to use this method to add. Of course, I can search, then you will show it here, and then you can automatically add, become this one. This one. Unless I edit and then do some amendment here. Okay, so ERP is from here. You can add the ERP. So meaning that because I get all my information, I can do these 2 steps. Okay. So in order for us to show the name here, meaning that we have to first time log in, like I said just now, the steps number 7 here. We have to do that. We have to do that in order for our director to see our name here, and then only the director first time can edit this, edit this info can allow all the access, enable all the access for us to proceed further to the My Company, My Invoice. So this is important. Okay. So this one you have to do it. If for your info, let's say the director, they want to see, they can click individual, then they can see the company. If they cannot see company, means that the previous director still not resign from this MyTax. So meaning that person, the previous director, you have to contact that previous director, ask them go to the profile here, ask them to go to the role application. This one is out from the slide. The slide didn't tell you. So they have to go termination. The previous director have to do the termination first. Immediately after the termination, then the new director can come to new application. The previous director have to choose termination, click submit. After submit already, the new director have to click new application. So when you choose the new application, you have to choose this one, director of the company, and then they will get you to upload the information. You have to upload, these are the information that required to upload. Okay. So if you are the appointed new director, the previous director already terminate, then the new director have to do this process. So after this process only, then you will take 5 working days for the actual production environment. That means actual production one, they required you about 5 days to complete to see this information. The director. They approve the director, I think the new director about 5 working days. After e-invoice, they said about that. You wait for 5 working days in order to see this. If you can, if from this pre-production one, for pre-production, immediately you add new because it's for testing purpose. Immediately you can see automatically add you already as the new director already. But for actual one, they have to get you to provide all the documentation. For pre-production, no need. You no need to supply. Only for the actual environment production one, you have to supply all the required document. Then 5 working days, they have to do assessment, review, everything. Then only recognize you and then add you as a director, new director in the MyTax for company. Okay. Hope that you understand. Then this one is the creations of the submissions. After create, the process is when we do submissions to the My Invoice, they only can accept one batch of the transaction. Let's say today I create 200 invoices. So automatically system will split your invoices to 2 batches for your submission because they only limit to 100 invoices per submission. So system will auto split your transaction to 2 batches. Okay. And then one invoice is 300 KB. 300 KB you can't see from your eye. It's actually internal backend JSON file. Have to make sure it's not exceed 300 KB only. Okay. In our site. So then once we submit, then there's a UUID will be assigned back to us. meaning that there's a response back. So when we submit via web API, the response back to us is the submission ID. Then after that, you can wait, and then whether accepted here, accepted document, they will say, okay, they receive your transaction and then accept already. So you will see a status called accepted. Rejected means that your transactions automatically reject by this first time. So this one is right before get validated. After get validated, then you get the UUID lah. You'll get another ID. So get validated, then we will call back the ID. We will call back the UUID from the cloud server from the HDN one, and then for this one we will not get any the notification one from the API here. When we just get directly only. We won't get any notification. But if you go through the My Invoice portal, you will get notification. Both supplier and the buyer can get. But what we get notification, the buyer, even we use this method, right? The buyer can get email. Email is follow this email. I'll just share with you. So the email here is this email. This email address. Under the profile here, just now back, under the, if you want to confirm your email correct or not, you have to come into this user text profile under company one, and then you go to the notification detail here. You see this email. This email, if you don't want to use this email, you want to change, you click manage here. Click edit here. You click edit, then you change. When you click edit, you cannot click save. First time, when you click edit, you cannot see the save button also become white. You cannot click. What you have to see is, first thing, you have to make sure all the asterisk one, asterisk, red color asterisk one, all must key in first. Most of the time, I see the problem is because the postcode not supplying. Postcode not supplying. You have to make sure mandatory field like this with the asterisk, you have to enter. You have to enter, then only you can click save. If you change the optional one, and then you try to click save, you cannot click save. You have to first time make sure all the mandatory one, click supply already, then click save. Then second time you want to edit the optional, only can edit. Okay, this one is the tips from us because we already passed through this problem. So we know. So sharing e-invoice. So meaning that for your info, if you are using the API method, meaning that our software have to generate the e-invoice with the QR code for you. You cannot log into My Invoice portal if you're using API permission. You cannot log into this My Invoice portal, try to download the e-invoice format with the PDF with QR code. Cannot. Only for those that using My Invoice portal to create their document, they only can print out from there. If you're using API method, that means using software, you have to use our software to generate out. So because our software will generate based on that, to actually once the transaction is already validated with the UUID already, then only we can generate a QR code directly. So you can print out. So currently we have one standard document for e-invoice. So meaning that when you provide your invoice to your customer is considered a drafted only. So wait until got validated, you can print out another time of the invoice to your customer with the QR code. So we have one standard template only for e-invoice. We don't accept to help you generate multiple template. So multiple template is for your own normal e-invoice. Normal invoice, not your e-invoice. E-invoice, we always have one standard. Okay. And then if you want to reject, if your customer want to reject your transaction, your e-invoice transaction, they have to send a reject. Then you receive this, right? Then you have to log into Biztrak Online to do a cancellation. The cancellation can only be done by the seller, not the buyer. buyer can do a rejection, but the seller itself have to do a cancellation. Meaning that if I'm the supplier of customer A have the right to reject, but they don't have a right to cancel my invoice. I have to cancel. If after 72 hours only you know that you have to, this customer didn't accept your invoice, then you have to issue a credit note after 72 hours. So this one is storing is by the LHDN. So reporting all this, this dashboard thing is only for option A. Option B one, they don't give you this they only give you in this method. Okay, so this one is overview of the issuing the e-invoice. So set up here, you can go through. In fact, there's not the 6 mandatory field, but actually in total is 55 field. But when you're using this integration, definitely system will pick up directly automatically. All these 55. And then on top of this 55, if you are dealing with the import or export, so there are some information, especially for the import one, they have a custom form they have to provide. And then if you supply to the customer, but you are not shipped directly to the customer, you ship to another address, then there's a shipping information you can supply to them. So for this number 7 is preparations for the e-invoice implementation. Who have to do that? Actually, your own, not only finance team, also other team member from other department. Especially for those claim, the sales side also have to sales department, procurement, admin, and so on. So they have to realize that this information have to capture, like let's say the claim. The claim from your employee, you must make sure after 1st July, they will get the e-invoice from the employee, from their seller. Okay, the e-invoice from the seller. And then technology, since you're using Biztrak online, there's no physical server involved. So everything will be actually lined on our side here. So you don't have this issue. Then process is like you have to review your current process, whether have to attend to e-invoice, sell bill e-invoice, because especially maybe you have multiple transactions for payment on behalf, then you do not need that. But purchase on behalf, you need that. Purchase on behalf, you have to issue e-invoice to your subsidiary. Why? Because when you do the purchase, bulk purchase for your subsidiary, you gather all, let's say, stationery, you buy bulk, then later on you issue invoice to your subsidiary. The e-invoice, because it's received by the holding company from the supplier stationery shop, right? You get the e-invoice from them directly to your company. So when you charge out to subsidiary, you have to issue e-invoice. Then only they can prove of the expenses, or else they cannot prove, because that one is purchased on behalf. So next time, if you have this kind of scenario, my suggestion is, you want to purchase something that split up to share among the subsidiary, you better to get the supplier to split to few invoice. Let's say you want to split that total amount to the 5 subsidiary. So what I suggest is you get your supplier directly issue 5 invoices to you. If you supplier just issue 1 invoice to the holding, then holding have to generate e-invoice to the respective subsidiary, because that one is purchased on behalf. So you cannot use that method like just issue a normal debit note. You cannot issue debit note. You have to issue invoice, e-invoice. So that's why to reduce your work, normally we will suggest you to straight away get your supplier to split up the invoice for you to recognize by the respective party. So this is a suggestion. So what we actually suggest to you is you go through the phases. Let's say right now you still have time, right? So meaning that when you do this, you can go through this folder called project plan. So your first thing, you have to activate there's one Excel for project plan one. So you activate the My Invoice portal first. Make sure phase 1 you activate. Phase 2, you try to gather all your customer information. Customer information and supplier for sell bill one. Not related to sell bill, you do not need that. So you have to gather the TIN number, their company registration number, address, and so on. Many things to get. So how to know what are the info? You can actually come to this folder called Google Form here. Google Form here will tell you what are the information you require. These are the required informations to get your customer to provide back to you. Because you can only enter integration address 1, 2, 3. Postcode is the compulsory if you are local, not outstate, not overseas. And then city, state also compulsory, country also as compulsory. Okay. If you supply NA here, address 1 NA, let's say individual, they do not want to provide you address, they only want to provide you minimum IC number and their full name. So address they didn't supply, then you enter NA. Then the rest do not need to supply already. Okay. This is the criteria. And okay, come back to the project plan here. The project plan here, the master file preparations, you have to prepare all this. During the system training by our trainer, they will explain. Then you know what are the information you have to capture into Biztrak Online. So these are the information. Integration. Of course, you don't have this batch. Integration 1 is actually directly do the integration. So test the integration, then ready for live. So these are the simple steps you can follow. Of course, this Excel file you can adding your own column if you want to do so. Because this one is just a sample for you to sample guideline for you to actually go through. And then we also have one sample guideline for checklist. So you can see this implementation checklist here. How many companies in the group, and then when you want to implement the e-invoice, and then what are the checklists like for this one server you do not require it already. You only require it for your workstation only. Workstation. So then but for Biztrak Online it's straightforward. You do not need even like as long as can access to internet, then you can use already. Then the most important is this part, system preparation checklist. You go through this system preparation. So what are the code? Example, I tell you, because the base currency, you can see this guideline. The currency code you have to follow exactly here. The currency code, or else your transaction cannot be recognized by your own code. Okay, this code here
change already. You did not
country of origin. The currency code is which one? Number 3 here. Like Malaysia ringgit, we used to use RM as a code, right? RM. But for e-invoice, you have to change it to MYR. You cannot use RM. So like the rest you can just follow let's say overseas, you have to follow exactly this table. So this table we also telling you the source come from where. You can copy and then paste and then go and check from the this guideline website here. So this one, all this we actually access from here. So this guideline also the same. So meaning that you have to make sure. That's why this checklist also very useful. You can see what are the code that you're using, even like foreign currency, what are the code you have to use. Then you have to check whether this code is a standardization code that you use for your this e-invoice or not. Like RM cannot already, have to change to MYR. And then classification code. Not all GL code, not all your child account code have to enter the classification code. Your classification only limit to the 8 category, just now the transaction type. This transaction type only. This transaction type is come from here. So any transactions that charged to that GL account, you have to enter the classification. So classification code, you refer to this table. So meaning that you have to, so many balance sheet and the P&L, the income statement account code, so many, right? Not all account related. So only the account related to 8 category, just now the 8 transaction type, you have to bring it up and then enter, then you have to confirm what are the classification code have to enter. Because classification code is the compulsory requirement. So if you check just now the invoice here, JSON file, mandatory, this one is mandatory. You didn't supply, then your transactions will be invalid. Okay, so make sure you enter this classification code. So these are the information you have to enter. Like if you are selling the product or service product, then you can enter the origin also in the Biztrak item profile there, the origin of your product. So origin means that country origin here. Country origin, you can refer to the table here as a country origin. And then unit of measurement. Integrate unit of measurement. Let's say I use kg. This kg probably cannot be recognized. So you have to follow the code here. If we put in km, kilometer, they don't actually accept, So kilometer can be different type. What kind of kilometer you are referring to? So when you actually enter, you have to enter extra code. During IFA training would explain to you the additional common code you have to enter in the unit of measurement. Okay, these are the information that you have to take care. Bear in mind with this checklist. The rest you can go through yourself. So, okay. So meaning that you can go through this project plan by yourself after this training. That's all. I will see any others